Pew Pew CNC here, and today I am working on a SIG 365 fuse. I just picked this up last night to have one to play with. I've done a few porting jobs on these, and I wanted one for myself just to play with, take some videos, do some testing with it. So here it is. So I'm getting ready to put this in the mill and do the port window on the top. This is the barrel that it came with. I had already picked up a second barrel, so I will be able to do, ported versus non-ported comparison. But I'm also looking at the Optic mounting. And you can easily put, this is the HoloSun K. You can put that on there. It's not a bad fit. It's a little loose, not bad. You can put the HoloSun EPS carry or the full size. This is the full size. Again, not a bad fit. There's a little bit of play in there, but not bad. It comes with these little recoil pins. I guess you can use that with their Optic. But those pins, you can look at it there. The pin will work with the EPS, if I can get it in there. It's a tiny little guy. There you go. So the pin will work with the EPS Optic, and it does snug it up a little bit. There's no boss in the back, so you can just use the one in the front. But if you're putting the HoloSun K on it, the pin is too tall. So for some reason, HoloSun, when they did these two optics, they essentially have the same footprint. This one is slightly different. There's some extra holes there, but for some reason on the K series, they do not go as deep on the recesses there. So if you have a slide that has the raised bosses, it might work for the EPS, but for the HoloSun K, you can see there's going to be a gap there. So you would either just not use it or grind it down shorter to work, but I don't want to do either one of those options. This gun is kind of a unique gun in that, to me, it's basically a full-size gun. It's slim, but this is basically a full-size gun. It takes 17 round mags. It comes with a 17 round mag and then 2 mags with extensions on them that are 21 rounds. So to me, this is a full-size gun. I want to run a full-size optic. And this RMSC HoloSun K footprint essentially is the same hole pattern as the Delta Point Pro footprint, like on the Vortex Defender. So this is just the regular Vortex Defender ST. I actually want to get a Vortex XL and put on here just because I can, why not? But I want to put this on there. And you can see it obviously isn't going to fit, right? But I think I have room. We just take out some material in the front. We're going to take out some material in the back, as well as modify the rear sight. We're going to thin that out a little. And I think it'll work. I got this gun to try some new things on, so let's try that. So I'm going to get it in the machine, modify this, and see if we can mount the full-size Delta Point Pro footprint optic onto this slide. All right, so I've got this thing in the machine, working on it, and I thought it would be a good time to kind of stop and show you, one, part of the process, but two, what you get with a custom optic pocket fit. And I'm working on a video to kind of really go into depth with this. So right now I've milled the pocket, and I've purposely milled it just a hair small because I want to get to where this is a nice tight fit, no play in there. So I'm going to adjust my cutter comp to make this pocket just a little bit bigger, and then also go just a hair deeper so that the floor of the new milling matches up with the floor that is there. And then as far as modifying the rear sight, I've done this on Glocks before, so I thought I could do it with this. I actually left the rear sight in and was milling it down. It didn't like that. I guess maybe these don't fit as tight, or this particular sight here doesn't fit as tight in the dovetail as, say, a Glock sight does, because it started to come out. So I will modify this separately, but you can see I'm going to be milling off of that sight. But that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to adjust this and then get a nice pocket. All right, so here we are back on the bench. I've got it out of the machine. I finished cleaning that up. So you can see I went down to the floor that was there, actually just a hair below it, and that way the optic will sit nice and flat. I didn't really want to clean up the whole floor, but I guess that could be an option. But that's where we're at. So I'll show you how the optic fits. And again, I talked about, custom fit optic pockets. On this pocket, the fit is going to be based off of the body. So you have to line it up just right. But once you get it lined up, there you go. Just kind of goes in place, and there is no play in that, no slop whatsoever. And that is a really nice fit. That's gonna pass the shake test. I can probably actually hold on to the optic and shake it. So that is a nice fit. That is what you get with a custom fit optic pocket, and that is why I am a proponent of custom fitting the optics. And then on the rear sight, so the rear sight needed to be thinned down. I attempted to just leave it in the slide and mill on it, but it started to move. So I had to take that out and modify it, and then it was still just a hair too thick, so actually it's not the prettiest grinding job, but for what I'm doing with it, just kind of testing it out to see if I could get it to work. So you can see that will fit. And honestly, this optic has the built-in rear irons, and it is pretty much the same height as the factory. Let's see it there. It's pretty much the same height. So honestly, as far as backup irons go, you'd probably be fine just using these posts that are in here. But modifying this is an option. So I'll get that back in there. And then the port window for the porting. So you can see that. So I've done a few of these. This is the first one that I've owned. So everyone that I've done this for has told me that they run great. So I will get that in there, get this thing back together, head over to the range and try it out. I do want to get a Defender XL optic for this. So that will be an interesting test to see how that optic fits, if it fits in this pocket, if it's tighter, if it's looser. And that will probably be a good example to show you why it is in your best interest to send in the optic with the optic pocket. So if I'm doing an optic cut for you, I'm going to request that you send in the optic. And if you tell me that's not an option, I'm going to tell you that your optic pocket could be a little looser than the fit that I'm showing here, because if I don't have the optic, I usually err on the side of caution and go just a hair bigger. That way I know that your optic is going to fit, because what I have found, I don't have enough to be able to tell you this definitely on the Vortex optics yet, but what I have found with like Hollow Suns and even RMRs is that the size of the body can vary by just a few thousandths. Sometimes the diameter of the pins varies by a few thousandths. Oh, and actually that reminds me. So these pins that come with it, I'm going to say I don't need these pins because of how tight the body fits, but I wanted to check and see if I can put these in there. So everything, if I measure everything correctly, and I did this everything true off of the pocket that was already there, I should be able to use these. If I was a few thousandths off here and there, these probably won't work. So let's see if this will fit on there. Got lined back up. All right. Oh, look at that. Awesome. So, take that out of there. So I can run those in there if I want, and that's just even more support. And again, that's what you want. You don't want the screws to be the only thing that is holding this optic in place. The screws should only be holding the optic down and not doing anything else. If the screws are what is holding this in place as the gun is recoiling, cycling, those screws are eventually going to break. They are tiny screws. Let's see if I have one here handy. So this is the screw that came out of the cover plate, but still, that's a tiny screw. That's not meant to take a lot of force and abuse. So the only thing that we want these screws doing is holding that optic down. So I'm going to get this guy back together, head over to the range, and start having some fun with it. All right, so here it is back together. It is unloaded, no ammunition, so we'll drop the slide here. You can see that looks pretty good with that optic on it. It's just a hair wider than the slide at the base. You can see it's turned up pretty bright, but you can barely see the irons if you had to use those as backups. And then there is the grate porting. So we're going to take this guy to the range and start playing with it, seeing how it does. I really like the way that it presents. I had a 365 XL, and I honestly didn't like it. I didn't like the grip. I didn't like it, and I ended up getting rid of it. So I wanted to get one of these to see how it works out. And then I'm also thinking about how to do, some other milling features to this. I've have a few people that have asked what else I can do to these slides. I've had some ask about windows in here inside the slots, like I do on the PDPs or the echelons, and the way that the internal milling is, I don't really think that's a good idea. So I might be able to add some serrations up here, and then maybe something up in the front. But honestly, as far as functionality goes, this slide's pretty grippy. The serrations are pretty good. So pretty much anything else that I do to it would really just be aesthetics. I don't think it would really necessarily improve the function of it. It just might make it look a little cooler. So I might end up, this stippling on this is pretty good too. I might end up redoing that though. But right now I'm pretty excited to get to the range and try this guy out. All right, so we're out here at the range and we're gonna see how this thing does. So non-ported, ported. I'm utilizing the 21 round mags, and I have 5 rounds of Federal 147 grain, 5 rounds of Blazer aluminum 115 grain, 5 rounds of MagTech 124, and then 5 rounds of MagTech 115 loaded up in each magazine. So We'll go through non-ported. I'll set up the camera on the bipod, see if we can get some video of the recoil, and then we'll go through, put the ported barrel in, and do the same thing. So this is it with the Optic. There we go, get it lined up. So let's have some fun.